Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the Dragon's Lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, welcome back. Doing something really different tonight, especially if you've been watching for the past 2.5, almost 3 weeks that I've been streaming Beatmania 2DX. So, you know, a music game, a Japanese import music game from the very late 90s into the 2000s. But tonight we're playing an American game from 1983. So set your Wayback Machine to 1983, 37 years ago. And we're gonna be playing some Dragon's Lair. So, whew. Man, I have so many things I could say about this game. So I was 8 when this game came out, and I remember it pretty well. Like, I definitely remember, like, that was the heyday of arcades, so I can remember, you know, going to the arcade, and the main one that I went to had used tokens, so I didn't have a pocket full of quarters, but I had a pocket full of tokens, and man, this thing was just absolute hot shit. They had the machine out there on the floor, and there was always just a crowd of people gathered around the machine, you know, watching somebody play, waiting to play themselves. For a while, actually, they had a satellite monitor that they put up on top of the machine, so that, like, if you were standing back from the machine a bit, you could kind of look up and see the gameplay while somebody was playing. Because otherwise, it's kind of hard. I mean, like, you can see here, I purposely have the camera at a bit of an angle so you can kind of see past me. But if you can imagine, like, being right behind me, you wouldn't really be able to see through me. And if there were, you know, several other people gathered around, then yeah, there's just no way. So, anyway, gosh, I'm trying to decide how much I want to introduce this thing, right? Especially for my viewers that have been watching pretty much nothing but relatively modern music games. Some of you may not have ever even heard of this one. In fact, it was probably came out before you were born. Although I feel like it's been ported to damn near every console and personal computer and whatever that has existed in the last 37 years. So I feel like there's a pretty good chance that you've at least heard of it or seen it. But anyway, yeah. Hey, Matthew Cox, welcome in. So I'm gonna apologize in advance. Like, I am not part of the reason I'm doing this stream at all, actually, is that I picked these cabinets up, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, I think in 2009, I believe. So I've had them a little over 10 years, and I have yet to beat either one of them without setting the unlimited lives dip switch. Which of course is just, you know, cheating. But and the reason is, like, I've beaten them before in I'm pretty sure I beat them in the arcade, like, when they were, you know, new eventually. and I've beaten them on various home computer systems and console systems since then, but I've never done it like in these actual cabinets, and it's just because if you know anything about this game, you know that it's basically like this is the origin of the QuickTime event. If you're familiar with QuickTime events in video games, like this is basically where they came from. So the entire gameplay is nothing but like reaction time and memorization, and that's really tedious and really frustrating. So it's not so much that the game is hard, but it requires playing it a lot to remember what all the moves are and then to be able to execute them correctly. And of course, this is a game from before like continues were really a thing. So if you fail and you lose all your lives, you get to start at the very beginning, and you have to like work your way all the way back to wherever it was that you were. And so it's a lot of repetition, and like I said, it's kind of tedious. So it beats you not so much with difficulty, but more so with just utter frustration. And that's pretty much the reason that I've never beaten him on these cabinets. Like once I got them and I got them working, I played them for a while, but after about 30 or 40 minutes of failing, it was just like I just was like, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. But I figured it's about time that I actually just get it done, and so that's what I'm here to do, and I'm sure it's going to take me several tries. The game is only like 10 minutes long, like beginning to end, maybe a little bit more, if you actually complete it successfully.
Dragon's
I do love
Lair,
this intro.
the
I'm
fantasy
just gonna stand
adventure
aside
where
for
you
a second.
become a
Yeah.
valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the dragon's lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
I've actually got the dip switches set to play the audio for the attract mode sequence once every 8 times. So that means I've been talking too long, right? And Matthew, I noticed you mentioned that you got your Replicade. Me too. They're so cute. I feel like this is the reason why I'm here tonight, really, is gosh, I think I backed this on Kickstarter like a year ago, and then it finally showed up. Was it earlier this month? Has it been about a month that these finally shipped? And so, like, just having it, and it's like, look at that, it's so cute. It kind of like reignited my interest in this game. I admit that these cabinets generally don't get turned on all that often. Like if I have people over, I'll turn them on, and a lot of times people will just kind of like look at them, but they won't really play them. Or somebody will get brave and try and play them, and then they'll suffer the same frustration that I was talking about earlier. But since I got the little mini cabinet, I was like, I've been playing on it. I haven't beaten this yet either, which I intend to do that relatively soon. But anyway, because I have this, I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I should play the real thing. So I'm determined here to try and get this done. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and try and play a game or two or something like that. just to kind of get things started. Definitely, if you have any questions about the game, I actually was intending to do a little talk tech a little bit. If you want to see what's inside, or if you have any questions. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, but I know a little bit. I've had to work on it, so I've at least seen it, and I might be able to answer some questions. But I'll give people a little bit of chance to file in, and so I'll go ahead and start a game. So the thing about this is, like I was saying, when you fail, you have to start at the beginning every time. And the scenes are somewhat randomized, but there are certain scenes that usually appear. I think the game is in like 3 phases. So there are some scenes that will generally only appear later in the game. But that means that the scenes that are earlier in the game, I've seen a lot from failing a bunch of times and having to start over. So, like, I'm pretty good at the first half of the game or so, maybe 2/3. Or then I'm not paying enough attention and I screwed up. The timing on that is so weird. Well, it's not weird, it's just difficult. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm pretty decent at the first half of the game or so. So I'll probably get through it fairly quickly. But then once I get up to some of the later scenes, like, my memory is just fuzzy about how they work. And then I'll start to die a lot. Push up a lot. I always love this swing right here. He's like swings so wide, he hits both the thing in front of him and the thing behind him in one swing. Don't get greedy. Leave the diamond. Oh, shit. Wasn't ready. Oh, boy. And as you can see, as you progress through the game, you end up playing almost all of the scenes twice. Just the second time will be mirrored from the first time.
Save me!
And I'm pretty sure this platform scene, like which of the platforms you choose to jump off of, or jump off onto, I believe it does affect the branching of the game a little bit. Oh, nope. I screwed that one up. But I don't remember exactly how. Oh. Hit that too early. That's another one of the really frustrating things about this game, when you actually know what the move is and you just get the timing slightly wrong and you die anyway.
Save me!
Holy shit. I'm honestly surprised I've made it this far. But I have only one life, so this is not it's not good.
Please save me. The cage is locked with a key. The dragon keeps it around his neck. To slay the dragon, use the magic sword.
Nope. So yeah, that's Dragon's Lair. So how long did it take me to get there? What, 10 minutes or so? And now if I start another game, I get to start at the very beginning and work my way all the way back through that. Let's see. Asking some questions. Excited to see how good I do at it. Oh, was that a jinx? That was a jinx. No. Seriously, though, like, that is the farthest I've gotten in a long time. Like, I don't... I've been playing on the mini cabinet a little bit this over the past week, but I've not gotten all the way to the Dragon's Lair, so I didn't realize, I guess, how close I was to getting through this game. This could end up being a slightly short stream, and not be quite as frustrating as I thought it would be. But anyway, yeah. He said, "Is it true that the knight's voice was Don Bluth?" I don't know if it's Don Bluth. Also, just for those of you who maybe don't know, all the animation in the game is like traditional hand-drawn animation done by Don Bluth, former Disney animator, then went on to have his own studio and did stuff like Land Before Time, Secret of Nim, All Dogs Go to Heaven, some other stuff that I'm probably forgetting, but like great artist, great animation, looks fantastic. And,
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the
my
fair
understanding,
princess
I
from
don't
the
know
clutches of
if
an evil dragon.
the voice of Dirk is actually Don Bluth. It very well could
You
be.
control the actions of a daring
My understanding
adventurer
is
finding his
the
way through
only
castle
like
of a dark
real
wizard
voice
who
talent,
has
like
enchanted it
person
with
that got
treacherous
paid
monsters
was
and
this narrator.
obstacles.
So everybody else that
In the
makes
mysterious caverns below
the
castle,
voices in the
your
game,
odyssey
which
continues against the awesome forces that
were
oppose
just
your
like
efforts to
people
reach
around the office.
Dragon's Lair.
Now, whether that person around the office was Don
Lead on,
Bluth or not,
adventurer.
I don't know.
Your quest
That is not a detail that I have either read or retained. One of the two. But because like if we make it to Space Ace tonight, I think like the voice of Kimmy might be like the office secretary or something like that. I don't know who Dexter is, but yeah, I don't. The one thing I do remember reading though about it was that like there was no professional voice talent. It was all just like, here, say these lines, except for the narrator. All right. Well, shall I give it another shot? Like I said, if y'all have questions or you want to like see some details, some like technical details, I should have a way to be able to show like the inside of the machine and talk about stuff. So I know some people had some questions. Or some people mentioned that they might have some questions either in the places that I posted that I was going to be streaming tonight, and then I've kind of mentioned about it in some of my earlier streams or some of my previous streams for different games, being like, hey, I think I'm going to stream this next. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Do I want to sell it? No, I'm not looking to sell this one. But I'm not saying I'll never sell it, but I'm definitely not intending to anytime soon. It's kind of a weird. This is kind of a weird one for me, actually, because two things. Number one, these games are like very unusual compared to almost the entirety of the rest of my collection, because most of the games that I have are all like Japanese and Korean import music games. I have a few other games that aren't music games, but the vast majority of my collection are music games. So you know, that makes these rather unique in that they're not music games and also very, very much older than most everything else that I have. And really, I'm at the point now in my collection where I'm basically out of space in the basement. So if I want to get something new, I pretty much have to decide that something has to go. And I've made those decisions a few times. It's always hard. Because in general, like, I get games because I want them. And so, like, letting go of it is like, difficult. But, anyway, generally, for games that I've let go, it's usually been a decision of, like, either it's usually, the decision is usually made by, well, people just don't really play it anymore. Like, when people come over, it's just not one that people really play. And so it's like, okay, let's get it off the floor and bring something new in, like a real arcade, right? But if I were to use that criteria on these games, they would have been gone long ago. Like, people don't play these games, and I honestly, I don't blame them. I mean, I love Dragon's Lair and Space Ace to death, but I understand that a lot of that is nostalgia driven, because, you know, they're games that I grew up playing, and that I'm old enough to have experienced, you know, going into an arcade and seeing this game and being like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything that looked this cool before. And because you gotta remember, you know, in 1983, graphics were not, they weren't this, for sure. Now, they kind of, you know, cheated. It's not really graphics, so to speak. It's basically, you know, an animated movie. And the result of that is twofold. Number one, it looks amazing, and that's what I really love about it. Like, that's the big nostalgia for me, is just the look and the artistry of the game itself. But because of the way they did it, like I said, it's basically just all QuickTime events. So you're not really directly controlling the action the way you are in a regular video game. You're basically just pushing directions or pushing a button, you know, the correct button or the correct direction at the correct time to keep the action moving. And if you don't do that, then you get a death scene. So, like, gameplay-wise, it's not very dynamic. And like I was saying before, because of the whole, like, okay, now you failed, you have to start over at the beginning, it's kind of frustrating and tedious. And so, like, I don't blame people for not wanting to play it, or not really enjoying it. I don't particularly think the game is all that fun. Like, if I were coming to this game, you know, today for the first time, I probably wouldn't be into it. It's only because 8-year-old me experienced it for the first time in 1983 that it holds, you know, the special place in my heart that it does. So yeah, that's probably going to keep these in the collection for the foreseeable future.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon.
All right, let me give it another shot. Here comes that big swing. Bam, bam! I like the little... on. Oh, waited too long. And I know this one I screwed up last time. Because you have to wait until it's, like, starting to come at you before you hit the sword button. If you do it too early, then it'll hit you. Something I never understood on this platform scene is how they break axis on it. I'll point it out next time it comes around. Like, it's a visual or directorial choice that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This part, you actually have a choice. You can go in the direction to the stream, or you can wait until you're in the stream and then push forward. Either works. There's a few moves in the game like that, where you could do different things, both of which are correct. So here, look. He enters, he's facing to the right. And now he's facing to the left. And now he's facing to the right again. Like, I just don't... It just, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And then I just screwed that timing up, apparently. Ugh.
Save me!
Oh. Screwed it up. I'm doing worse in this game. Here we go. He's facing right. Now he's going left.
Save me!
Man, that happened when I saw that scene before, where it just like didn't take my move. I blame the controls. I'm kidding. I just screwed it up. All right. Let's see. Oh, you have the original Punch-Out. I'm catching up. You probably typed that like 10 minutes ago. What's the difference between Punch-Out and Super Punch-Out? Do they both have they're the dual monitor, right? Like there's a top monitor and a bottom monitor. Are they both that way, or is just one of them like that? I can't remember. Oh, and you're agreeing with me on my feelings for the game, how like it's a beautiful piece of art, and but not really a very fun game. I appreciate it. I love it. But that doesn't mean I think it's really fun. Fortunately, so far I'm I'm still pumped. Like I'm not mad yet. Haven't hit the machine. But oh, okay. So Super Punch-Out has different characters, and they both have the dual monitor thing. Cool. All right. Hey, Kenan, how you doing tonight? We're doing something completely different, but I hope you'll enjoy. And the answer to your question, Matthew, about the ROM and the CRT. Yes. Right now, I am playing on the original ROM set. I'm actually not playing on the original ROM board though, and I'll go ahead and take a quick break here, and I can explain that a little bit. And as far as the monitor, this is in fact, the original like Electrohome G07 CRT monitor, 19-inch. That, as far as I know, it is the original monitor to this cabinet. So it is a 37-year-old monitor. Same type of monitor that they used in like Pac-Man and games of that era. But I've capped it, and hopefully it'll keep running for a while. But yeah, it's still going. Anyway, let me try and answer some of these questions real quick. I actually set it up, so this is something that I've thought about doing on previous streams, but I've never tried it. But let's try it this time. I should be able to share my camera on my phone. So let's see here. Hello? Maybe it'll work. There we go. So you'll have to bear with me a little bit though. There is like a 2 or 3 second delay in the camera, so if I happen to speak a little too quickly and I'm like talking about something that I am clearly not pointing at that moment, give it a couple seconds and it'll probably catch up. But anyway, Matthew had a question about the ROM set, so I'll just show real quick inside here. So this is not running emulated. I am in fact running on the original game board. The only thing that has been changed in this case is this board here on the left. This is the ROM
Dragon's
board.
Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight
And
on a quest to rescue the fair princess from
I'll
the
let that,
clutches of an evil dragon.
I don't feel like talking over it, so hang on a second.
You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his
can do
way
this.
through the castle of a dark wizard
it'll be really out of
who has
sync.
enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles.
So out of sync.
In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the dragon's lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Well, you can see all those scan line patterns and everything in there. Anyway, So what I was gonna say is this ROM board is a newer piece. I do have the original ROM board. It's right here. So hold on. Oops, sorry. Not enough hands. It would normally sit right there. And I'm trying to remember why I don't have the whole thing full. Why there's only 3 chips instead of 5. I think I might have. It might be the enhancement ROM that I have on there. But anyway, what has changed in this setup though is, like I said, we've got this Merlin board here in place of the ROM board, and it has some. It has the ability to serve up multiple ROM sets. So it actually has the Dragon's Lair final ROM revision F2. I think it's F2. The Dragon's Lair enhancement ROM set and the Dragon's Lair prototype ROM set stored on the chip, as well as Space Ace, the final revision of that, which I think was A3, if I'm not mistaken, and the Space Ace enhancement ROM set, and the Dragon's Lair 2 enhancement ROM set are all stored on this chip here, and there's a way that you can switch between the different games without having to replace the ROM board, because the only other way to do that otherwise would be either to remove this ROM board and put a different one in that has different chips, or actually pop the chips off the board and replace them with different chips, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, we like to make it a little easier. But the actual main board itself is the original from 1983, and that ROM board serves up the ROMs the same way that the original ROM board would have, basically whichever ROM set you choose, it serves that one up, and the main board doesn't know the difference, so it should behave and play exactly as it would, because it is all the original hardware. We're not doing any kind of emulation at all. The other thing that's different in here is, if you look in the bottom of the cabinet, that there's that switch, or this is just a big, sorry, I get my finger in there. This is just a big video splitter that I have set up for the stream. That way I can split the video between the monitor and the stream. That normally would not be in there, but you can see it's sitting on top of a Laserdisc player. This is actually a quote-unquote modern Laserdisc player from the 90s. If you look up here, that board was actually a converter board that basically translated the signals, the commands from the main board in order to drive a newer style Laserdisc player, because the old Laserdisc players that were in these machines from 1983, well, they weren't the most reliable thing in 1983, and then add 35 years to that, and well, you're lucky if they work at all. So there were a number of different products that allowed you to adapt a newer Laserdisc player for use with the old hardware. In my case, I'm doing something even newer than that. We've got over here the Dexter board, which is running on a Raspberry Pi up on top here, and then the Dexter board is below it, and so it has all of the videos from the Dragon's Lair and Space Ace and Dragon's Lair 2 Laserdiscs stored on it digitally, and it works in concert with the Merlin ROM board, so that basically when you choose a particular game, it also serves up the appropriate video to go along with it. And that's how you can change from the 3 different games all in the same cabinet. So that is my little quick tour there. And so I see you're asking there, Matthew, is it the original Laserdisc? So obviously no, it's not the original Laserdisc in there. Although it should behave just like the original Laserdisc. The the one thing that it will be slightly different is that it doesn't have as long of seek times. In fact, the seek times are basically 0. So the time between scenes is a lot less. You look at a lot less black than you did back in the day, when the Laserdisc player physically had to move the pickup, from one track to another to play the next,
Dragon's Lair,
to either play the death scene or play the next scene or whatever. I do, though, have, like you were saying, I do have the original Laserdiscs here. So for anybody who hasn't seen these,
monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach Dragon's Lair.
This is the original Dragon's Lair Laserdisc. They are 12-inch discs, so they're like the size of a record, like a vinyl record, except they're quite a bit thicker and heavier. But these guys had stored either 30 or 60 minutes of analog video. You heard me right, analog video per side, depending on the format of the disc. There was a CAV and CLV. Dragon's Lair is a CAV, so it's 30 minutes per side, although I don't think there's even 20 minutes of video on here. Like I said, the game's only like 10 minutes long, beginning to end. A lot of the scenes are reversed, but then you add all the death scenes and stuff like that in there. I would bet that there's only probably 15 or 20 minutes of video on here at the most. But yeah, so that's a Laserdisc. Would I ever add the second monitor on top for old time's sake? Yes, I would love to, actually. I'm a little bit space limited, unfortunately. So probably the only monitor that would fit on my... Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. And I'm bad at it. Okay, so I'm a little bit space limited down here in the basement. The ceiling is slightly low. And so let me tilt the camera up and you can kind of see. So the only, and you can see my overhead camera up here too, for the controls. But anyway, I think only a 13-inch would probably fit up there. Anything larger would probably be too tall and would touch the ceiling. So I owned a 13-inch CRT at one time, but I got rid of it, and I'm sorry. I'm sad. I wish I'd kept it, because if I still had it, I would definitely put it up here. But yeah, if you hear about a 13-inch CRT TV, send the link my way. I would be interested. And then, Yoster, you were asking, how am I capturing the game? So it's exactly the same as all of the other streams that you've been watching from me. I'm using the same hardware. Here, let me turn this guy back on. I can show you the streaming setup here a little bit too. Come on. I'm waiting for the camera to kick in. It's not the fastest thing. There we go. All right, so we got the machine here, and I showed you inside. I've got the video splitter. So basically, the video is coming out of the Raspberry Pi that's on top of Dexter, and normally it just has this short little cable that goes straight from the Pi down into the Dexter board, and then on the back of the Dexter board, let me see if I can show it here, are your AV outputs. So you can see there's your audio left and right, and then a video, which is actually a BNC connector. But what I've done is, instead of doing it that way, I am going out of the Pi into this splitter, and then the splitter, one source here, this is the audio and video going to the cabinet, so the monitor up there and the speakers, and then this source over here, this is the input, I think. Yeah, this is the input. So this is going out to the cabinet, and then this is going out. I actually just have it shoved out the fan hole, out of the back of the cabinet, and it is coming up and just plugged into my my little capture device here. So you can see, yeah, I've got the capture device would, if I wanted it to, take the audio and video together, but I'm only feeding it the video because I'm putting the audio into my mixer board, along with, there's a mic there, that's what you're hearing me on, is going into the mixer board too. This is something that I've been doing with all of my music streams, because I was having a lot of trouble back in music gaming streams. I was having a lot of trouble before with OBS getting the audio sources like out of sync with each other.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy
So you would hear the like the game from the microphone and the game coming direct in, slightly out of phase with each other, and it would sound terrible. And so I decided I wanted to take OBS completely out of that loop, and so I plug all of the audio into a mixer board, and then just have one source going into the PC. That way all of the audio will stay together no matter what. Now, if the audio gets out of sync with the video, I mean, that still sucks, I haven't had that problem, but even if it did, at least the audio is in sync with itself. So, yeah. So that's the setup, and then my little PC that's running the stream that you're watching now. Boop. So hopefully that answers those questions. Maybe a Morton flat screen. Modern type. No, I tend to be kind of a purist about arcade stuff. I've got a number of newer games that use flat panels now, but they came that way. Like, that's the way they are now. But in general, like, if a game originally had a CRT in it, I will try and keep a CRT in it. Maybe not the original CRT, although usually it is. There are very few games where I've replaced the monitor. But when I do, I try to replace it with something similar to whatever would have been there originally. So if it was a CRT, I'll put another CRT in. And so, like, for me, if I was going to put a top monitor up here, I would want it to be a CRT. Plus, a lot of the CRT games, especially like video, really is kind of like, just the way that it is, it's kind of relying on the way CRTs are to look the way that it does. And when you start putting it like on an LCD or something like that, they just look weird a lot of the time. I don't know if you've played any like classic consoles, Nintendo stuff, like on a modern television. They just look weird. And I don't know. It's not my preference. is what I'll say about that. All right. So let me. I guess I don't see any other questions right this moment. So let me give this another go. So this will be attempt number 3. One other thing I'll note is that I do have the game set for 5 lives, which is the easier mode. The options are 5 or 3, and I believe the default is 3. So, and if you remember, in 1983, this was the first video game to charge 50 cents, so 2 coins per credit instead of 1. And interestingly, I believe I have the original manual here, which is great. It's one of those like it looks like it's hand typed on a typewriter. And it's just bound with those little things where you like stick the peg through and then you bend them out on the back side. And I've got some like coffee stains and stuff on. I didn't do that, and it's clearly kind of yellowed over the years, right? If I'm not mistaken, there is not even a setting to set it for 1 coin for a credit. Like, 2 is the minimum. But yeah, why was I talking about that? I forget already. Oh yeah, so you're thinking like 1983, you gotta pay 50 cents to play the game. You probably only get 3 lives, and then you die, and then you have to do it all over again. So I'm sure these things made bank. until everybody realized that the game wasn't actually that fun. But, you know, it's one of those impress your friends games, right? Once you learn how to do it and you're like, yeah, I can do this, and then everybody's like, wow, that's really cool. All right, so here we go. Attempt number 3. Hopefully I can not screw up in the early phases of the game so that I'll have more than one life by the time I get to the Dragon's Lair. God, I keep screwing up the timing on that. And I'm not sure why. I love the character design on that Spectre. It's just really cool. Oh! I forgot the last move. I mean, I forgot to do it. It really sucks too, because that's actually one of the hard scenes, since it's timing based, like very timing based. Which means I'll have to do it again. Ah, that scene always sneaks up on me because it just starts really fast. Back to the horse.
Save me!
Right in the butt. I love all the coins that it's just spilling on its way. Yeah, give me the gold. Too early. And I'm down to one life again. There we go. Nope. As soon as I did it, I was like, nope, that timing was off. Damn. Like a script. I'm not sure what what you were responding to there, Matthew. But yeah, the mini cabinet is great. Like they did a great job making it super authentic. You know, it's funny what you're talking about the video. Actually, I think it looks really good on the mini cabinet monitor. Have you used the HDMI out from the cabinet yet, though? Because if you do, and you put it out to a regular television, it looks pretty rough. It's 720p, but it's like upscaled 720p, and it's yeah, it's not great. It doesn't look great on a big TV. Now, to be fair, you know, we're talking 480i resolution as the original source material anyway, so like there just aren't a whole lot of pixels there once you get up onto, you know, a 50 or a 60-inch modern screen. So it's not going to look the best, but it definitely looks pretty soft and a little mottled if you use the HDMI out. That was my experience anyway. Although I have a fun story about that HDMI port too. So when I first tried it, I plugged the HDMI cable into it and plugged it up to my TV, and it didn't work. And I was like, "Oh no, what's going on?" And I, you know, futzed around with it for a little bit, and I was like, "Yee, I guess it's you know, defective or something like that." So I went to New Wave Toys website and I opened a support ticket, and I was like, "Hey, I tried to use the HDMI port and it didn't work. You know, I tried a different cable, I tried different monitors, you know, just to make sure that it wasn't something I was doing. You know, do you have any suggestions?" And this was on, like, I forget if it was a Saturday or a Sunday, but it was like a Saturday, it was a weekend night, you know, like at 9 o'clock at night or something like that. I send this off to them, and within a minute I get a response back from somebody. I was like, holy shit. And the guy was like, "Oh, there's a good chance that the HDMI cable internally from the board to the back port of the machine may have come loose in transit." Apparently this may be like a problem that they have frequently, or somewhat often, right? He's like, and he sends me like 3 or 4 detailed pictures of like how to open up the cabinet and, you know, check this cable. And he's like, "Don't worry, you won't void your warranty, you know, would you be willing to do this?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was funny, like I went and I cleared my my work table off, and I set the cabinet up, and I was actually going to stream that repair just for fun. But right before I went to do it, like I tried it one more time, and I plugged the cable in and still nothing. But as I was pulling the cable out, like I saw the picture pop up on my TV for just like a split second, and I was like, huh. And so like I put the cable in, and I kind of gave it a little wiggle and you know, futzed with it for a little while, and then sure enough it came up. So I think he was right on. It was probably loose inside, and just, you know, the act of me plugging it in and unplugging it a few times and kind of wiggling it around got it, fortunately, to click into place as opposed to fall out completely. So yeah, the moral of that story: New Wave Toys tech support, A+, A++. So yeah. What's the screen blanking? Oh, you mean the option in the in the menu of the mini cabinet. I think that's what you're asking me. Sorry, there's like a bit of a delay between the chat and me, so I may answer your question before you confirm for me that that's the screen blanking you're talking about. That is what I was talking about with the Laserdisc player, because it physically had to seek between the different scenes in the game. There would be a brief period of black on screen between when it would jump from one scene to the next. And on the original Laserdisc players, that was oftentimes a full second or maybe a little bit more. The newer players were able to shrink that time a little bit down. But of course, when we're talking about flash storage, it can be instantaneous. So if you turn screen blanking on, you are basically mimicking the way that it would have played originally with those black gaps in between scenes. So that's more authentic. But if you turn screen blanking off, you won't get those blanks between scenes, and it'll be smoother. Or it'll feel smoother. It'll feel like, a traditional cut, like in a movie. So that's what that's about. The Dexter board that I have running in here has a similar option to, I don't know if they call it screen blanking, but it has something similar to that where it'll add a little bit of a gap just to make it play more like the
Dragon's Lair,
original
a
Laserdisc,
fantasy adventure where you become a
even though it
valiant
can
knight
actually
on a
be
quest to
better,
rescue the fair princess
so
from
to
the
speak.
clutches of an evil dragon.
Hey Gurk, how you doing?
Control the actions of a daring
I am
adventurer
being Papa
finding
Brian
his way
tonight.
to the castle of a
We're
dark
playing a
wizard
37-year-old
who has
game here.
enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles.
All right, this will be attempt number 4. Frustration starting to set in. I didn't forget to go out the door that time. Alright, didn't do those early this time. That's good. Getting better. Hey, I was ready for that scene this time. What? I don't understand why I died there. I'm sure I made the correct move. Don't drink it. Do not.
Save me!
Don't drink the potion. Don't take the diamond. Both of those are bad for your health.
Save me!
I love that one cry that sounds like Scooby-Doo. Oh!
Save me!
Damn. Too late.
Save me!
Hopefully this doesn't mess up again. I say mess up again, as if it was its fault. I probably had the timing wrong. Got it, alright. Phew. I think this scene gives me more anxiety than anything else in the game. Alright, here we are. We got 3 lives. Maybe we can make this work. Get ready to hear the princess's speech a few times, though.
Oh. Please save me. The cage is locked with a key. The dragon keeps it around his neck. To slay the dragon, use the magic sword. Ooh.
Well, dang. I can say I've beaten my own cabinet now. Nice. So what, that took me 4 tries? That actually was way better than I was expecting. I was expecting to have to do this a lot more. I guess I got some decent practice in on the mini cabinet. And I didn't like I said, when I played the first time and I got all the way to Dragon's Lair, I was like, huh, I didn't realize I was that close. So I guess I played a lot more. Or was doing a lot better on the mini cabinet than I realized. I hadn't made it to the Dragon's Lair yet on the mini, but I guess I was pretty darn close. So, anyway, so now we've done that, I can show you something else. So, the Merlin board that I was talking about before, like I said, it allows you to actually change games. So I can do this, and you can see you have this nice little menu. You can play Dragon's Lair, and it actually tells you up here, I don't know if you can quite read that, but it says DL F2. I'm not really sure why the F is backwards, but F2 is the ROM set revision that I was talking about. They made a lot of revisions to the game over the course while it was out, fixing different bugs and whatnot, and it's still not it's still not perfect. Then we got Dragon's Lair Enhancement, which somebody, I want to say in the late 90s, maybe the very early 2000s, somebody went and wrote a brand new ROM set for Dragon's Lair, and what they did was a couple of things. They fixed a lot of bugs. I don't think they actually I don't think they used any of the original code. I think it's all fresh code. But they've basically fixed a bunch of things that were wrong with the original ROM set, even the last revision, and they kind of changed the flow of the game a little bit, because if you watch the animation, there are certain scenes that, like at the end of one scene, you can see Dirk in a particular environment, which is the beginning of another scene.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy.
I didn't realize that it actually times out eventually. Here, I'll just keep playing around with it. But the way the game was originally set up is it's much more random than that. So a lot of scenes that probably should have an order don't. And so with the enhancement set, they tried to bring that order back into play so that the game flows a little bit better. And there's a few little move tweaks and different things. And if you noticed when I was playing, there was a few scenes that kind of like either start abruptly or end abruptly. They changed it so that, you know, those will play out the full length that they were intended to. So it's kind of neat, and it also adds a whole scene that wasn't in the original game. The animation is on the Laserdisc. It just didn't get used, and that's the bridge scene in the very beginning. So we'll show it right here. I'll go ahead and do it. So this is the same, but this scene doesn't play in the original ROM set, and now it does. But you'll see there's a little bit more flow to the order of the scenes now. There is still some randomness to it. But it does kind of like work its way sort of like deeper into the castle. in a way that was not always guaranteed originally. Oh! I blew it!
Save me!
Oh! Dang it. Oh, that's right. They changed this. They changed the moves on this a little bit to make a little bit more sense. It's not just hit sword a whole bunch of times. You actually have to, like, move toward the sword when it's out of your hands. And then this scene is slightly extended. If you remember before, when you, like, leave the room, you don't see him exiting like that. It, like, cut before then. So that's where I'm talking about, where they, like, let the scenes play out to their full length. Oh, guess I was too early on that. Ah! Well, now I'm doing bad, so awesome. Anyway, Badlands, Cobra Command. What are my thoughts? Badlands. I remember Badlands. Like, I remember that it exists, but I don't really remember it. And then Cobra Command, yeah. I remember that one also, but like of all the Laserdisc games, obviously I know Dragon's Lair and Space Ace the most. My recollection on Badlands and Cobra Command are that both of those games are just using what do you call it? They're using existing animation from a show that was already like done, and they just repurpose that animation and set moves to it to make it a game. Unlike Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, where it's all completely original animation for the game specifically. Would I buy them from New Wave if they did them? Probably not. I would definitely buy a Space Ace if they did. But like Badlands and Cobra Command, like I said, I remember them and I remember playing them, but they don't have any particular meaning to me. I don't think I finished either of those games. I certainly don't remember doing so. It's not so much. I don't think that they're like good or bad necessarily. It's just that, like I was saying before with these games, it's about the visual style that's the real like attraction to these games. The gameplay itself is kind of not that great. So by the time, well, for lack of a better word, I'm not trying to really be disparaging, but by the time the copycat games like those came out, where it's like, hey, let's, use Laserdisc and animation and make a game, it's like the novelty had kind of worn off to where it's like, okay, now I have seen a game that looks really cool like this, and now I'm starting to pay attention to, the gameplay isn't really that fun, so I'm not really that into it. That's kind of oversimplifying it a little bit, but I think that's kind of what happened. Is by the time those other games that were similar came out, I just didn't care that much anymore. It wasn't what I wanted to play, so I didn't. They don't, like I said, they just don't hold the same like place in my heart and mind to where I would probably get into them. But as far as the art and animation, like I said, I believe they came from a particular like I said, existing show. I think an anime. So maybe watch the show. I don't remember which one was what, but I think that was the case with those, is that they were actually just using some scenes from a show that already existed. So you could probably actually seek out that show and just watch it, and enjoy the art that way. Anyway, all right. Well, coming up on 2 hours, hanging out here, I kind of, I think I pretty much showed like the main differences with the enhancement ROM set. It's pretty subtle. It plays a little bit better, but it's not. It's not wildly different. I mean, it's the same game. So I'm not gonna like sit here and try it a bunch of times and try and beat it. Maybe later, maybe another stream. For now, I think let's skip on to Space Ace. So here's the thing with Space Ace. Okay, yeah, so it does say up here A3. So the A3 revision. Space Ace is a little bit different than Dragon's Lair in that it is much more linear. It follows a very like linear path, and tells a more like complete story along the way. But that means, so the scenes are in a very specific order, which doesn't change from game to game, but they are also much longer. And with the original ROM set, the way it's set up is if you die during a scene, it takes you back to the beginning of the scene, which is really, really frustrating. One of the things with the enhancement ROM set, they did some of the same things that they did with Dragon's Lair enhancement, and just kind of cleaned up some of the beginnings and ends of the scenes, and made it flow a little bit better. But they also added a feature that makes the game a little bit easier, and that is if you die, the game picks up again at the move that you died on, so you can keep going, and that is way easier. So you don't get 2 or 3 minutes into a scene, die, and have to repeat those 2 or 3 minutes again, possibly multiple times. You can just pick up right where you left off. And so I'm going to play the enhancement set. I have not played Space Ace very recently, so my memory of these moves are even fuzzier than Dragon's Lair. And I do not... I don't want to be that frustrated right now, so I'm going to play the enhancement set.
Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the planet Earth. Ace is being attacked by the evil Commander Borf.
Hold your fire! Who is that creep?
Borf.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
No way, Borf, old buddy.
Oh! Ah! I've been hit! By the Infanto Ray.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
Struggle with Dexter to regain his manhood. Destroy the Infanto Ray. Defeat the evil Borf.
Hey, Borf!
Come on, Kimberly, let's go.
I've been hit.
Ah!
Be valiant, Space Warrior. The fate of Earth is in your hands.
So, there's a couple things I'm going to say about Space Ace. I actually like Space Ace better, but, I mean, it was the second game that they did, so I think they learned a few things, right? And I think it flows better. I like the story. I like the characters. I love the music and the sound effects. Everything about this game I like more than Dragon's Lair. But what I was going to say is, and let me turn my my camera back on here for a second, because I want to show you something. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Oh. Apparently that was what was left in the buffer from before. There we go. Okay. So I do have the Space Ace cabinet here, and you'll see that the two of them next to each other, they kind of just took Space Ace, the marquee box, and they flipped it upside down, and then they kind of redesigned the rest of the cabinet a little bit. Space Ace does have a couple of features that Dragon's Lair did not, and that most notably is there are these difficulty selectors on here. So you can actually play Cadet, Captain, and Space Ace, which makes the game more difficult the higher you go. There's like additional scenes and additional length to the scenes when you play on the higher difficulties. And when you pick... I'll just start a game over here real quick so you can see it. When you start a game, you can see actually there it'll show you what level you picked on the score panel back here. I'm just gonna let it fail out. I would do a whole nother stream with for Space Ace on the Space Ace cabinet, but honestly, I'm lazy. I'm too lazy to do it, and here's why. Dragon's Lair, which I showed you before, is open from the coin door, so you have like full access to everything from the front. Space Ace is not that way. Space Ace is walled off. So the only way you can get access to the board and the video and all of that stuff is from the back. And that means that I would have to pull this cabinet away from the wall, and it's not on wheels, and it's on carpet, and it's just a pain in the butt, and I don't want to do it. So, I mean, I could easily just, point a camera at it and play it, but if I wanted to do the inset video and everything like I've been doing with Dragon's Lair, I would have to, like, pull the cabinet away from the wall and hook a bunch of stuff up, and I just don't. That sounds like work, and I don't want to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and play Space Ace in the Dragon's Lair cabinet. Although when Space Ace came out in the arcades originally anyway, they did make it as an upgrade kit for the Dragon's Lair cabinet. And what they did was they gave you some extra buttons, the three difficulty buttons that you could drill the panel and install here, and they used those volcano buttons. If you've seen on the old Atari games, they're like they look like a volcano. They're kind of like a triangle, and they have a little red button with a light on it at the top. And so instead of having they call this the enunciator board up here to tell you what difficulty you're on. Basically, when you would pick the difficulty on one of the buttons here, that button would be lit and tell you that you were on Cadet, Captain, or Space Ace difficulty. I do not have that on this cabinet, but fortunately, let me go ahead and turn this off. That Merlin board that I was talking about that lets me play the all the different games in the single cabinet also has a feature that when you start a game of Space Ace, it just lets you pick the difficulty on screen.
There's more ship.
All right, let's see how I can do on this.
Come in, are you okay?
Oh, sure. I'm just kidnapped by aliens, that's all.
I'll save you, Kimmy!
Get me out of here!
Wah! Request permission to land.
Alert. Ozone tolerance to level 1.
Oh, far out.
Ah, damn. And here's where I'm talking about. Now I'll start right at that move. And apparently get the next move wrong.
Oh, far out.
but I don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the scene.
Far out.
And now I'm just completely out of my mind and not remembering how to play this at all.
Personnel on level 1.
Whoa! Ah!
Seal off all exits to level 1.
Whoa!
Oh, far out.
Whoa!
Seal off all exits to level 1.
Ah!
Dexter! Get me out of here!
Well, that didn't last long. Like I said, it's been a lot longer since I've played Space Ace than Dragon's Lair, so I'm pretty rusty, pretty out of practice. I do not remember all the moves. I may give it another couple of tries, but I can already feel the frustration building, so I may stop before too long, and then I might do another stream tomorrow and try and work my way through Space Ace. I think I'm gonna need a lot more effort to get this one done than Dragon's Lair, apparently. And there's still Dragon's Lair 2, which I actually did beat.
Space Ace, defender of justice.
Dragon's Lair 2. I had a Dragon's Lair 2 cabinet, but I sold it. But I was able to beat the game one time before I did. But then one of the nice things about this Merlin and Dexter setup is that you can play Dragon's Lair 2 in this cabinet as well. And I can talk more about that later if I get to it. And I see Matthew, looks like you are heading out. But yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm glad you got to share in me beating Dragon's Lair on my own cabinet for the first time after having it for 11 years. So, pretty excited about that. But all right, so I'm gonna give this one or two more tries and then probably wrap it up unless people have some questions. But it looks like
Space.
There's more
looks
shit.
like most people have wandered off, so we'll see.
Come in, are you okay?
Oh, sure. I'm just kidnapped by aliens, that's all.
I'll save you, Kimmy!
Get me out of here!
What? Request permission to land.
Alert. Close all corridors to level 1.
What?
Wow! Hey!
Alert. Unidentified personnel on level 1.
Whoa! Ah!
Seal all exits to level 1.
Whoa!
Oh, far out.
Whoa!
Seal all exits to level 1.
Ah!
Dexter! Get me out of here!
Wow! Oh!
Ah. Ah, crap.
Get you this time. He's had it. Ah! I win! Later, Space Invader!
Dexter!
Oh, man. It's coming back to me, but it's definitely fuzzy up there in the brain. Oh, jeez. This game is also way louder, I've noticed. It is, I think, if you were watching through Dragon's Lair, you probably saw there were like these yellow flashes, which generally indicate like what you're supposed to do, like what direction you're supposed to go, or if you're supposed to use your sword. But they were very inconsistent in Dragon's Lair, and a lot of the time there just wasn't really any indication or cue of what to do. You just kind of have to know. And Space Ace is a little bit better about that. There's some more consistency with what do you call, letting you know with prompting you for what the moves are supposed to be. Not perfect, but better. And oh, Matthew, you're still around. Cool. Well, thanks. That wasn't a great play, but it was better than my first one. So I did Dragon's Lair. I had a great first play and then a pretty terrible second play. This one I had a really terrible first play and the second play was okay. But there is a long way to go. I think this game is a little longer too. I don't know if it's actually longer or if it just feels longer because the scenes are so much longer. You just have to remember, much longer strings of moves for Space Ace than you do for Dragon's Lair. Because Dragon's Lair, like, other than the Dragon's Lair scene, almost all the other scenes are 10 seconds, pretty quick. Whereas this one, it's like full scenes are a minute or two, even. So, all right, let me give it one more try, at least one more try. Not completely frustrated yet. You can actually race through that if you want to. You can go when the thing is up the first time instead of waiting for it to come down and go back up again.
You, Kimmy.
Get me out of here!
What? Request permission to land.
Alert. Close all corridors to level 1.
There we go.
Oh, far out.
Man, screwing up that timing.
Personnel on level 1.
Whoa! Ah!
Seal all exits to level 1.
Whoa!
Oh, far out.
Whoa!
Seal all exits to level 1.
Ah!
Dexter! Get me out of here! Wow! Oh! Fantastic!
Oh,
Wow! Yeah! Get you this time. Ha! Keep at it. Ah! I win! Later, Space Invader!
Dexter!
Oh! Oh!
come on. now you're definitely starting to understand like the frustration, because so like I get up to that point, right? And now if I start over, now if I play again, I'm gonna have to start at the very beginning and work my way all the way back to that point just to see like what's next, to try and figure out, okay, now here's how you continue to play past that point. So it's always like, you know, replaying your memory for, you know, a minute at a time, and then 2 minutes at a time, and then 3 minutes at a time, and then 4 minutes at a time. And so it always takes you, you know, a few minutes to get back to the point where you failed, and you got the game over. And so it's just it's tedious and frustrating, and that's what makes the game hard. Not real difficulty, just like painful difficulty. I don't know how to describe that, but all right, I'm a little past 2 hours here. This is a short stream compared to the ones I've been doing lately, but I think I'm gonna give this one more try, and I think I'm probably going to just cut it from there and come back and try again tomorrow. So yeah, but thanks for showing up and hanging out with me while I play this old, impressive looking yet frustrating game.
There's Bor's ship.
Close me.
And of course on the Dexter board, skipping through that real fast like that, there's no breaks in the action, because the flash
I'm just kidnapped by
can
aliens, that's all.
you know, seek instantly. It makes it work really smooth. If you do that on a Laserdisc player, it's much more disjointed, because there's a little bit of a gap, a black gap between each of those moves. I shouldn't try and talk while I'm playing.
Request permission to land.
I mean, I want to, but I'm likely to do worse. Let's see if I can get this right this time. Yeah.
Oh, far out.
You will lose. Alert. Unidentified personnel on level 1. Seal off all exits to level 1.
Wow! Oh!
Man, I'm missing a lot of moves I thought I was getting. Which probably just means my timing is wrong. Still frustrating.
Get you this time. Keep at it. Ah! I win!
See, like, I'm sure that's the right move. I don't know why I died. So it must be my timing, but... Alright, well, the frustration is definitely set in full force here. So, with that, I think I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. But I will probably try again tomorrow to get through Space Ace. And then maybe I'll try Dragon Slayer 2 as well. Alright, well, thanks again, everyone, for checking in and hanging out, participating in the chat, bearing with me while I play this frustrating old game. I will see you next time. Good night.